Trump had a fling with Stormy Daniels.
And paid her $130,000.
Hush money, yes.
And you're voting for him?
I am. My father had affairs too, and I still respect him.
Welcome to What Was That? I'm Gabe Sanchez. During a street interview segment on Jimmy Kimmel's show, he and his team exposed the blatant hypocrisy among supporters of Donald Trump, resulting in a truly wild sequence of events.
I hope you're ready for this.
The premise of the segment was very simple. It was called Debate and Switch. Jimmy Kimmel's team asked people who identified themselves as Trump supporters for their take on some of Joe Biden's more controversial actions and quotes. However, what they didn't tell them at first is that those quotes weren't from Joe Biden. They were actually from Donald Trump. Here are the three people that they spoke with.
Trump?
I'm gonna guess she voted for Trump.
This is Donald Trump.
The first question was, what did you think when Joe Biden suggested that COVID could be cured by shining a bright light inside the body?
It is very sad that Joe Biden is clearly a dementia patient.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that has him in check, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute.
And then, when it was revealed that it was actually Trump who suggested light and bleach, this is how she flip-flopped.
It depends what that technology is. That's a broad spectrum because, you know, you have MRI machines and CT machines and infrared. And
This woman sounds like Mike Lindell when he talks about suing every machine in existence.
It's a class action lawsuit against all machines and that they're defective devices, okay? I have lawyers worked on this for 5 months. We're getting county commissioners, county clerks. They're all the plaintiffs, and we've already got about 300 on board. And we're going to get rid of these machines once and for all.
And don't worry, her responses get even crazier. She was then asked, what do you think about Joe Biden saying that getting through the 80s without getting HIV was his own personal Vietnam?
again, it's very sad, his mental capacity, and that is a very uneducated statement.
Except as you already know, it wasn't Biden, it was actually Trump. Here's an interview with Donald Trump and Howard Stern back in 1997.
Can't even believe it. I've been so lucky,
Right.
in terms of that whole world.
You've
because
never
it is
gotten a social
dangerous-
disease.
It is a dangerous world out there. It's
It is.
scary. It's like Vietnam, sort of like, you know, the
It is.
Vietnam era.
It is your personal Vietnam, isn't it?
It is my personal
It is. You've said that
Vietnam.
many
I feel
times.
like a great and very brave soldier.
This also wasn't the first time that Trump said this either. And when she was informed that the 5-time draft-dodging idiot was actually the one who said this and not Biden, she flip-flopped faster than a cat chasing a laser pointer.
Dementia patient?
No, I don't believe that.
And speaking of Vietnam, Kimmel's team asked another Trump supporter, how do you feel about Joe Biden using bone spurs to dodge the Vietnam draft?
Joe Biden has a problem. He isn't an American. He isn't a patriot.
Because of college, like a lot of people did, numerous deferments because of college. And
Nope, it was not because of college. It was actually because he got a doctor to say that he couldn't go because of bone spurs.
I had a foot thing, and I had deferment for that.
Despite the fact Trump had been active in various sports, including basketball and baseball. According to Selective Service records obtained by CNN, Trump had been out of school for 18 months before the lottery even began.
Trump dodges the draft, but then also has the gall to call our military losers and suckers, even calling John McCain a loser.
I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured.
And here's John McCain coming after Donald Trump for dodging the Vietnam draft.
We drafted the lowest income level of America, and the highest income level found a doctor that would say that they had a bone spur. That is wrong. That is wrong.
Pete Buttigieg, who served in Afghanistan, also called out Trump for dodging the Vietnam draft by faking a disability.
Do you have a question? Do you think he should have served in Vietnam?
Well, I have a pretty dim view of his decision to use his privileged status to fake a disability in order to avoid serving in Vietnam.
You believe he faked a disability?
Do you believe he has a disability? Yeah, yeah. At least not that one. No, I don't mean to. No, this is actually really important because I don't mean to trivialize disability, but I think that's exactly what he did. When you think about the way somebody can exploit the system, and needless to say, the way he has treated and mocked disabled people is just one more example of the many affronts to just basic decency that this president has inflicted on this country. But manipulating the ability to get a diagnosis. I mean, if he were a conscientious objector, I'd admire that. But this is somebody who, I think it's fairly obvious to most of us, took advantage of the fact that he was the child of a multimillionaire in order to pretend to be disabled so that somebody could go to war in his place.
And here's Senator Tammy Duckworth, who lost both her legs in the Iraq War, calling Trump a draft dodger.
And I will not be lectured about what our military needs by a 5-deferment draft dodger. And I have a message for Cadet Bone Spurs. If you cared about our military, you'd stop baiting Kim Jong-un into a war that could put 85,000 American troops and millions of innocent civilians in danger.
These Trump supporters could really benefit from reading the actual news for once. Maybe, I don't know, learn a thing or two about what Trump has actually said and done. But who am I kidding? We know they won't. And speaking of reading, I want to thank today's sponsor, bookshop.org. What Was That with Gabe Sanchez is brought to you by bookshop.org. You may be watching or listening to our show right now, but are you reading enough? It's time to dive back into books and conquer that reading goal you set for yourself this year with bookshop.org. There are so many great books out right now that help you make sense of this moment. Or maybe you just want to get away from the political noise and unwind with a good novel. Bookshop.org has just the book you're looking for. Bookshop.org is unapologetically anti-Amazon. Why? Because when you purchase from bookshop.org, you're supporting local independent bookstores, so they'll be around for all of us to enjoy in the future. They're committed to helping independent bookstores not just survive, but thrive and continue to foster culture, curiosity, and a love for reading in your community. Bookshop.org has raised over $30 million for local bookstores. You can even pick which bookstore you want to support, whether it's your local bookstore or your hometown favorite. Bookshop.org is truly for anyone who loves to read and knows the power of a good book. And if you're like me, sometimes picking a book can be so overwhelming. There are too many good books to choose from, but thanks to Bookshop.org's bestsellers list, I know exactly what I should add to my reading list. Start feeling good about where you buy books. Use code GABE to get 10% off your next order at bookshop.org. That's code GABE to get 10% off at bookshop.org. Anyway, when the Trump supporter was asked again, but this time with Trump instead of Biden, she changed her tone real quick.
Oh, Trump?
Oh, Trump? Well, in that case, let me switch tracks faster than a DJ at a high school prom.
My brother-in-law had flat feet.
Excuse me, ma'am? Flat feet? Maybe Donald Trump and her brother-in-law should have seen a different physician. Might I suggest Dr. Scholes? I can tell you from personal experience that he is very supportive.
I'm sure you cannot go into a military zone, a Vietnam zone, or any of the other zones with bad feet.
This has to be the wildest answer in this whole segment.
You just can't do the job.
I agree.
And it actually impacts the other soldiers, puts them in danger.
And of course, Jimmy Kimmel's team had to ask about Stormy Daniels. There are accusations that Joe Biden cheated on his wife with a porn star after his son was born. And there's actually a paper trail showing that he paid the sex worker $130,000 to keep quiet about it.
And he was making, I think, less than $100,000 a year at that time as a congressman, a senator. Now, how does he do that?
I don't know, sir. How does he do that? Oh, that's right. He doesn't, because that was not President Biden. That was actually Donald Trump. I mean, the orange buffoon is now saying that the $130,000 hush money payment to Stormy Daniels for their affair in 2006 is not a crime.
So thank you very much. Everything that I've heard and read, even from legal scholars, said there's absolutely no case here. It's not a crime. This is not a crime. They don't understand it. There's no crime. And there was no crime here at all. Virtually every legal scholar says they don't understand it. There's no crime. Even if he was guilty of something, there's no crime.
Which is weird because before, Trump said it was all fake news, but now he's not only admitting that it happened, but he's also saying that it is not a crime. And based on Trump's logic, that would mean that Michael Cohen should not have gone to prison for covering up an illegal campaign contribution. So now that Trump is going to trial for this on March 25th, I wonder if he ever asked himself if it was worth it. Like, was the 90 seconds that he spent with Stormy Daniels worth it? Because we know how Stormy feels.
The worst 90 seconds of my life that I spent with Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, the perfect spokesperson for Republican family values. And whether you like it or not, we also know how small Donald Trump's ego is.
Which of these mushrooms, orange mushrooms, would most represent the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military? Oh, is this the one?
It's another. Fake news.
Seriously, you could tell these people that Donald Trump was the reason that Jesus Christ was crucified, and they would say, well, Jesus probably had it coming. But let's see how that Trump supporter responds when they tell him that it was actually Trump who did those things.
And you're voting for him.
I am. My father had affairs too, and I still respect him.
I'm sorry, what? That is not the flex that you think it is, dude. This has to be the craziest 180 that I've ever seen. He went from accusing Joe Biden of paying hush money to a porn star to then saying his own father had affairs, so no biggie. You know how earlier I said the flat feet comment was the craziest answer? Yeah, never mind. This one takes the cake. These people will say anything to justify Donald Trump doing something bad or illegal. I mean, seriously, it is remarkable. His supporters will believe anything Trump tells them, like how he never surrendered when he was arrested at any of his 4 arraignments.
Never surrendered to the tyranny.
What is Trump doing here on this shirt?
This is his mugshot.
Gotcha. So that was taken when he surrendered to authorities to have his picture taken.
Huh?
It's almost like they're too dumb to understand what never surrender means.
Shirt says never surrender?
That's right.
And that's from when he surrendered and got his mugshot taken?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
Well, that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and feel free to follow me at I am Gabe Sanchez. And if you'd like to contribute to this show, you can subscribe at patreon.com/IamGabeSanchez. Over there, you'll get early access to episodes, bonus content, and exclusive merch. So until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?